Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavri. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, Narad Muni has just started narrating the story of what happened. Let's continue. Shri Narada Vacha Ekada Brahmana Putra Vishnu Lokam Yadrichaya Sanandanadayo Jagmus Charanto Bhuvanatrayam. The great saint Narada said, once upon a time, when the 4 sons of Lord Brahma named Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara were wandering throughout the 3 worlds, they came by chance to Vishnu Loka. By chance.
What is that? Yadrichaya? What's the Sanskrit? Huh? What is the Sanskrit?
Bhuvanatrayam, they were traveling around.
Where is it to Sanskrit?
Here, Charanda, traveling about Bhuvanatrayam.
Yadrichaya, by chance. By their own will, like that. Wasn't totally planned. Okay?
Continue?
Of course.
Pancha Shraddhayarna Bhavaha Purvesham Api Purvaja Digvasaha Shishun Matva Dvastautan Pratyasedatam means Pratyasedatam means forbade. Although these 4 great sages were older than Brahma's other sons like Marichi, they appeared like small naked children, only 5 or 6 years old. When Jaya and Vijaya saw them trying to enter Vaikuntha Loka, these 2 gatekeepers, thinking them ordinary children, forbade them to enter. But isn't it like, ordinary children don't enter there? How you can just enter and turn up in the...
Pardon?
How can ordinary people just end up in the doorstep of Vaikuntha?
It's a Leela Shirade.
In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says in his Tantra Sara, Dvastaviti anekadhikarastavam uktam. Adhikara stitaschaiva vimuktascha dvida jana Vishnu lokastitastesham varashaptadi yogina Adhikara stitam muktim niyatam prapunvanti cha Vimuktyanantaramatesham varashapadayo nanu Dehendriyashu yuktascha Purvam paschannatairyuta api abhimanibhistesham devai swatmottamairyuta. The purport is that the personal associates of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha Loka are always liberated souls. Even if sometimes cursed or blessed, they are always liberated and never contaminated by the material modes of nature. Before their liberation to Vaikuntha Loka, they possess material bodies, but once they come to Vaikuntha, they no longer have them. Therefore, even if the associates of Lord Vishnu sometimes descend as if cursed, they're always liberated. Actually, right here is the proof about the fact that If they're liberated, how it's a fall down? It's not a fall down. Right?
Yeah, nobody falls from background. So that's
Ashapan kupita evam yubam vasam nacharhatah rajastamobhyam rahite padamule madhudvisha papishtam asurim yonim balisho yatam ashvata. Thus, checked by the doorkeepers Jayan Vijaya, Sanandana, and other great sages very angrily cursed them. You two foolish doorkeepers, they said, being agitated by the material qualities of passion and ignorance. You are unfit to live at the shelter of Madhudvisha, lotus feet, which are free from such molds. It would be better for you to go immediately to the material world and take your birth in a family of most sinful asuras. Evam shaptau bhavanat patantau tau kripalubhi proktau punarjanma bhirvam tribhirlokaya kalpatam. While Jaya and Vijaya, thus cursed by the sages, were falling to the material world, they were addressed as follows by the same sages, who were very kind to them. O doorkeepers, after 3 births, you will be able to return to your position in Vaikuntha, for then the duration of the curse will have ended.
now a small note is that often we hear the story that they were given the choice, but it's not in Bhagavad. Maybe in some other Purana, but it's not in the Bhagavad.
Yeah, there is a famous version that they were given a chance to either be devotees for 7 lifetimes or be 7.
So here is very clear. It's the Kumara specifically who limited curse to three lifetimes.
Jajñate tau dite putrau daityadhanava vanditau hiranyakashipur cheshto hiranyaksho nujastata. These 2 associates of the Lord, Jaya and Vijaya, later descended to the material world, taking birth as the 2 sons of Diti, Hiranyakashipu being the elder and Hiranyaksha the younger son. They were very much respected by the Daityas and Danavas. Hiranyaksha Hiranyakashipuramba Bhratruru Prithviyannu Mulugisida Karanadi Shri Hariyam Hato Hiranyakashipur Harina Simharupina Hiranyaksho Dharo Dhare Bhibharta Shaukaram Vapu. During his Nrsimhadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari killed Hiranyakashipu. When the Lord delivered the planet Earth, which had fallen into the Garbhodoka ocean, Hiranyaksha tried to hinder him, and then the Lord, as Varaha, killed Hiranyaksha. Isn't it first the Hiranyaksha was killed and then Hiranyakashipu did the tapasya?
That's my recollection. Let's check.
Yeah, it is. But I think here it just says that Hiranyakashipu was killed by Nrsimha and Varaha killed Hiranyaksha. It doesn't say who came first or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Varaha appeared first and then Nrsimha appeared. Hiranyakashipu putram prahladam keshava priyam jigham sur akora nana yatana mrityu hetave. Because Varaha Rupa incarnation already came in 3rd canto. Here is again he's speaking about the fall down.
Well, it's not exactly, what comes first, what comes second, because 1st canto you see Krishna and Kurukshetra.
That's true. It's not chronological.
Yes.
Yeah. Desiring to kill his son Prahlad, who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu tortured him in many ways. Tam sarva bhutatma bhutam prasannatam samadarshanam bhagavat tejasa sprishtam nashakno dhatum udyamai. The Lord, the super soul of all living entities, is sober, peaceful, and equal to everyone. Since the great devotee Prahlad was protected by the Lord's potency, Hiranyakasipu was unable to kill him, in spite of endeavoring to do so in various ways. Purport. In this verse, the word Sarva Bhutam is very significant. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord is equally situated in the core of everyone's heart. Thus, he cannot be envious of anyone or friendly to anyone, for him, everyone is the same, although he is sometimes seen to punish someone. This is exactly like a father is punishing his child for the child's welfare. The Supreme Lord's punishment is also a manifestation of the Lord's equality. Therefore, the Lord is described as Prashantam Samadarshanam. Although the Lord has to execute his will properly, he is equally poised in all circumstances. He is equally disposed toward everyone. Tatastau rakshasau jatau keshinyam vishravasutau ravana kumbhakarnascha sarvaloka patapanau. Therefore, the same Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu, took birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, begotten by Vishrava in the womb of Keshini. They were extremely troublesome to all the people of the universe. Tatrapi raghavo bhutva nyahana chapa muktaye Rama Biryam Shroyasitvam Markandeya Mukhat Prabhu. Narmani continued, my dear king, just to relieve Jaya and Vijaya of the Brahmana's curse, Lord Ramachandra appeared in order to kill Ravana and Kumbhakarna. It will be better for you to hear narrations about Lord Ramachandra's activities from Markandeya. Tavatra kshatriyo jato matra Swashratmajau tava adhuna shapa nirmukto Krishna chakra hatam haso. In their third birth, the same Jaya and Vijaya appeared in a family of Kshatriyas as your cousins, the sons of your aunt. Because Lord Krishna has struck them with his disc, all their sinful reactions have been destroyed, and now they're free from the curse. Purport. In their last birth, Jaya and Vijaya did not become demons or rakshasas. Instead, they took birth in a very exalted Kshatriya family related to Krishna's family. They became first cousins of Lord Krishna and were practically on the equal footing with him. By personally killing them with his own disc, Lord Krishna destroyed whatever sinful reactions were left in them because of the curse of the Brahmanas. Narad Muni explained to Maharaj Yudhishthir that by entering Krishna's body, Shishupal re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the Lord's associate. Everyone had seen this incident. Vairānubandha tīvrena dhyayena achyuta satmatam nitau punarhare parshvam jagmatur vishva pardashau. The two associates of Lord Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time. Because of always thinking of Krishna in this way, they regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home back to Godhead. Purport. Whatever their position, certainly Jaya and Vijaya always thought of Krishna. Therefore, at the end of Mausala Leela, these two associates of the Lord returned to Krishna. What's Mausala Leela?
The Mausala Leela is the Leela of the destruction of the Yadavas. When Krishna winds up his pastime, Krishna Balaram winds up his pastimes.
There's no difference between Krishna's body and Narayana's body. Therefore, although they visibly entered the body of Krishna, they actually re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. Through Lord Krishna's body, they returned to Vaikuntha, although they seem to have attained Sayujya Mukti in Krishna's body. Shri Yudhishthira Uvacha Vidvesho Dayite Putre Katam Asin Mahatmani Bruhi Me Bhagavan Yena Prahaladasya Chutatmata. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, "O my lord, Naradmuni, why was there such enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his beloved son Prahlad Maharaj? How did Prahlad Maharaj become a great devotee of Lord Krishna? Please explain this to me." Purport. All the devotees of Lord Krishna are called Achyutatma because they follow the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. Achyuta refers to the infallible Lord Vishnu, whose heart is always infallible. Because the devotees are attached to the infallible, they are called Achyutatma. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto of the 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. Want to comment anything so far?
Yes, as we know, the Bhagavatam is a series of questions and answers. And it started with the question by the chapter 48 verses started with the question by Maharaj Parikshit, how, is the Lord partial or impartial? Because it seems that he is taking the side of the Devatas against the Asura. But Shukadeva Goswami explained very systematically, no, it's how the people relate to him, how the people associate with the gunas, and the Lord, who is controlling the gunas and controlling time, simply manages that when it's time for guna to be prominent, then the asuras win. When it's time to sattva guna to be prominent, then the devatas win. But he is partial because he's the father and the paramatma for everyone. Then there was this further discussion on the killing of Shishupal. It was in front of all the people in the Rajasuya Yagya, and everybody saw Shishupal merging into Krishna. And Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Narada Muni, great authority, one of the 12 Mahajans, how is it possible? He was so insulting that how can we reach a liberation? It was so offensive. And then Narada Muni gets into this detailed description how absorption in Krishna is absolute, and in whatever form, fear, hatred, lust, and so on, one gets liberated. Plus, he explained this Shishupala was not just a normal demon. First of all, his absorption was in Krishna, not like Vena, who was demoniac against God, but wasn't thinking of God in the personal form, but just against God conceptually. He stopped all the yagyas, he stopped all the spiritual activities, and he was killed, but he didn't get liberation. Also, he wasn't killed by Krishna. He was killed by the Brahmanas. So then Narada Muni gives the background. Yes, and we have heard this verses. It's a very summarized version. They were cursed by the Jai Vijay were cursed by the Kumaras because of not being permitted to enter the Vaikuntha. So the Kumaras said that, oh, you are under the gunas. They were not under the lower gunas, but somehow the Kumaras took it like this. And of course, there was the whole background. Here in this chapter, there is no, it's like a summarized version. In the 3rd canto, you find that the Lord preaches to the Kumaras and so on and so forth. Okay, here they fell down. The Kumara said there will be 3 lifetimes, and Narada Muni explained that there will be Hiranyakasipu, Hiranyaksha, killed respectively by Nishingadev and Varahadev. Then Ravana and Kumbhakarna are killed by Ramachandra, and then Shishupal and Dantavakra killed by Krishna personally, and through his Sudarshan Kili, all the sinful activities, whatever baggage was remaining, got wiped out. So Shishupala stayed in the body of Krishna till Krishna left the pastimes, earthly pastimes, and then he got transferred back to Vaikuntha Loka as a guardian of Krishna, or as an eternal associate. They were already eternal associate. He just took a kind of a break to fight with Krishna. Now, because he mentioned that Hiranyakashipu was torturing Prahlad, and he was only saved, Prahlad was only saved because of the energy of Krishna, the protection of Krishna. So then Yudhishthira asked, why Hiranyakashipu was so inimical to his son. And so this is the introduction or the, let's say, the tying in for the next chapter, which is Hiranyakashipu, king of demons.
Okay. Chapter 2, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. As described in this chapter, after the annihilation of Hiranyaksha's son and his brother Hiranyakashipu were very much aggrieved. Hiranyakashipu reacted very sinfully by trying to diminish the religious activities of people in general. However, he instructed his nephews about a history just to diminish their aggrievement. Why did Hiranyakashipu act like that? Why he tried to diminish religious activities? Because they were worshipping Vishnu.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he connects everything, the Vishnu and the devotees of Vishnu, so he's trying to attack the devotees of Vishnu, also the devotional activities.
I mean, it's kind of like a very insecure type of behavior. Like, but also it's also very like a person who's wounded and triggered and kind of like, I'm remembering this Amish family. There was a story of recently, I think, I don't know how many years ago, there was this Amish group of community people, and one guy, he used to deliver milk to the school, and one day he entered the school with guns and everything, and he shot many of their children. And then he killed himself. And then after that incident happened, the Amish people, they actually approached the family of this killer, the wife, and then they actually offered help to her. And they said, we can help you with your children's child education, and they tried to support her. And that was like incredible response from the world, because like, wow, who can be so forgiving? Amazing, right? I mean, like, that's not so common among devotees. The little thing, something happens, and then devotees want somebody to be run over by a truck or something. I mean, we connect the families to be responsible, right? Or like, we can't tolerate, I mean, imagine, like, I'm thinking Draupadi did the same thing. When Ashwatthama killed the sons, she didn't want Ashwatthama to be killed. Remember? And Prabhupada says that women have a soft heart. But how do you think the Amish were able to forgive the people like that without Bhagavatam?
Well, because first of all, they always absorbed spiritually, religiously. The point is that, I mean, they probably have a very, very clear idea that the wife doesn't have anything to do with what the husband did. So why shouldn't help? They're a very tight community.
Because she was also part of the community they helped. But it's really impressive that they could forgive the family and not hold the family responsible. Also, the guy was probably crazy. But here, obviously, we see that Hiranyakashipu is not able to forgive because of Hiranyakashipu. Anujanada Hiranyakshana Maranavannu Keli Aga Nadeda Tapasige. There's a song which says about, because of the brother's death, he wanted to avenge. He wanted revenge. And then he started performing severe austerities. Okay. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as a boar and killed Hiranyakashipu's brother Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu was very much aggrieved. In anger, he accused the Personality of Godhead of being partial to his devotees and derided the Lord's appearance as Varaha to kill his brother. He began to agitate all the demons and Rakshasas and disturb the ritualistic ceremonies of the peaceful sages and other inhabitants of earth. For want of the performance of yajna sacrifice, the demigods began wandering unseen on earth. What does it mean for want of performance of yajna and sacrifice?
We'll read the verses. Okay, this is just a summary. We'll read the verses and we'll see the explanations.
Because I'd like to know what that means.
Okay.
After finishing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies of his brother, Hiranyakashipu began speaking to his nephews, quoting from the Shastras about the truth of life. To pacify them, he spoke as follows: "My dear nephews, for heroes to die before the enemy is glorious. According to their different fruitive activities, living entities come together within this material world and are again separated by the laws of nature. We should always know, however, that the spirit soul, which is different from the body, is eternal, inadjustable, pure, all-pervading, and aware of everything. When bound by the material energy, the soul takes birth in higher or lower species of life according to varying association, and in this way receives various types of bodies in which to suffer or enjoy. One's affliction by the conditions of material existence is the cause of happiness and distress. There are no other causes, and one should not be aggrieved upon seeing the superficial actions of karma." Hiranyakashipu then related a historical incident concerning a king Suyagya who resided in the country named Ushinara. When the king
Shina.
Ushinara. When the king was killed, his queens, overwhelmed with grief, received instructions which Hiranyakashipu put to his nephews. Hiranyakashipu related an account of Kulinga bird pierced by the arrow of a hunter while lamenting for his wife, who had also been shot by the same hunter. By narrating these stories, Hiranyakashipu pacified his nephews and other relatives and relieved them of lamentation. Thus, having been pacified, Diti and Rishabhanu, Hiranyakashipu's mother and sister-in-law, engaged their minds in spiritual understanding. I mean, Diti is also the mother of Diti is the mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, right?
Yeah.
So Rishabhanu is the wife's name of Hiranyaksha.
Yes.
And where was Kashyapa?
Where was Kashyapa?
Hmm.
No, probably doing some austerities or something. I mean, if it's not mentioned, he probably wasn't that affected anyway. I don't know if he's there or not. Maybe on some meditation or something.
Because, Diti was petrified when she saw that her sons were creating so much hangama in the universe and going and attacking everybody, right? Diti was not happy with the behavior, but then she's sad that Hiranyaksha died.
Of course, she was so bad. She wasn't there. So,
Okay, first verse of the second chapter. Narad Muni speaking. Shri Narada Vacha Bhratyarevam Vinihate Harina Krodha Murtina Hiranyakashipu Rajan Paryatapya Rushashucha. Sri Narad Muni said, "My dear King Yudhishthir, when Lord Vishnu, in the form of Varaha, the boar, killed Hiranyaksha, Hiranyaksha's brother Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and began to lament." Purport. Yudhishthir had inquired from Narad Muni why Hiranyakashipu was so envious of his own son Prahlad. Narad Muni began narrating the story by explaining how Hiranyakashipu had become a staunch enemy of Lord Vishnu. I mean, it sounds like a really traumatized poor man. He got traumatized that his brother got killed. Anybody would hate somebody who kills their brother, isn't it?
depends who's your brother and who's killing him. I mean, Hiranyaksha created a lot of problem. He put the whole earth at the bottom of Garbhodaka Ocean. So obviously he was a great criminal.
So what did Hiranyakashipu didn't want? He wanted the earth to be there. What was his?
Let's see what he said.
What
He's talking right now. So
because he's also part of that earth, no?
I'm not sure exactly where he was situated physically or for some planets.
Aha chedam rusha purna sandashta dashana chada kapojvalabhyam chakshurbyam nirikshan dhumram abharam. Filled with rage and biting his lips, Hiranyakashipu gazed at the sky with eyes that blazed in anger, making the whole sky smoky. Thus he began to speak. Purport. As usual, the demon is envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and inimical toward him. These were Hiranyakashipu's external bodily features as he considered how to kill Lord Vishnu and devastate his kingdom, Vaikuntha. The demons really believe they can do it, right? Okay, let's see, there's a question or a comment. Okay, there's a question. No problems, Snehavati joined little late. She's here, she's asking, how come Hiranyakashipu can speak so nicely to pacify the family members and engage them in spiritual advancement, but himself was not pacified by that spiritual knowledge. Rather, he wanted to take revenge from Vishnu for killing his brother.
Again, Hiranyakashipu is not a common demon or a common conditioned soul. He's an eternally liberated soul who comes with a specific purpose and objective to fight with Krishna, fight with Narayana Vishnu. And so he has this very deeply seated, deeply rooted hatred for Vishnu. So he can speak spiritual knowledge to the parents in terms of, okay, the soul is eternal, don't worry anyway, nobody dies, something like this. But still, that doesn't pacify his hatred for Vishnu.
Also, other thing is that he has the strength to take revenge. I mean, some kind of strength. You know, you need to be motivated. It's not like Diti or the wife are going to go and do tapasya to kill Vishnu, but Hiranyakashipu could do it. You know what I mean? Meaning, like, you know, when you become angry, it depends on your strength. Some people have to just keep quiet. They can't fight against because they're powerless. But when somebody has some power, they can, I mean, on a very mundane level, I'm saying, a person who has some strength to take revenge only can take revenge. Otherwise, you just have to shut up and go home. And here, which kind of shows that Hiranyakashipu was powerful.
Yes, we'll see how it's very powerful becomes even more powerful. But of course, we cannot.
I'm just saying that he had that, you know, power and that strength and that motivation and everything. Whereas Diti and the wife of Hiranyaksha, they were like, okay, simple ladies, and then they were pacified by it. And he's not going to be pacified. He's burning personality with power. Is that helpful, Nehavati? Oh yeah, me too, right? That's like how it happens in the movies. She says, I thought he would say to them, don't worry, I will take revenge.
I suggest we read the verses. So
Maybe because they didn't want that. They just wanted peace, but he didn't want peace. So he gave them what they wanted. Okay. Karala damstro drishtya dushpreksha bhrukuti mukha sulam udyamya sadashi danavan idam abravit. It's a similar word, abravit, which comes in Bhagavad Gita. Duryodhana, no? He speaks, no? He blabbers. Like they just kind of blabber it out. Exhibiting his terrible teeth, fierce glance, and frowning eyebrows, terrible to see, he took up his weapon, a trident, and thus began to speak to his associates, the assembled demons. Bho bho dhanava daiteya vimurdham striksha sambhara shatabahu hayagriva namoshe paka ilabala viprachitte mambacha pulomam shukunadaya shunu tanantaram sarve kriyatam ashumachiram. O Danavas and Daityas, O Dvimurta, Traksha, Sambara, and Shatabahu, O Hayagriva, Namachi, Paka, and Ilvala, O Viprachiti, Puloma, Shakuna, and other demons, all of you, kindly hear me attentively, and then act according to my words without delay. Shaptai katita kshudrai brata me daita suhrut Parshni grahena harina samenya pupadhavanaihi. My insignificant enemies, the demigods, have combined to kill my very dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. Obedient. Although the Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal to both of us, namely the demigods and the demons, this time being devotedly worshipped by the demigods, he has taken their side and helped them to kill Hiranyaksha. What does he mean, obedient and well-wisher? Means to him he was obedient.
Yeah, it was a younger brother.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:21, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. The Lord is equal to all living entities. Since the demigods and demons are both living entities, how is it possible that the Lord was partial to one class of living beings and opposed to another? Actually, it is not possible for the Lord to be partial. Nonetheless, since the demigods, the devotees, always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders, because of sincerity, they are victorious over the demons, who know that the Supreme Lord is Vishnu but do not follow his instructions. Because of constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, the demons generally attain Sayuja Mukti after death. Sayuja,
Emerging.
like
Emerging
Brahman.
Brahman.
The demon Hiranyakasipu accused the Lord of being partial because the demigods worshipped him. But in fact, the Lord, like the government, is not partial at all. The government is not partial to any citizen. But if a citizen is law-abiding, he receives abundant opportunities from the state laws to live peacefully and fulfill his interest. But this Sayuja Mukti is not what Shishupala got, right?
Temporarily, it's a form of Sayuja Mukti merging into the body, but he's a Vaikunthavasi, he's an eternal associate. This killing and this liberation is only a drama, so it
But
doesn't
still,
apply.
isn't merging in Krishna's body much superior than the Brahman liberation?
No,
which
it's
is-
considered even worse
Why?
because it's like it's something that the devotees, the devotees never accept any merging into the Brahman or to the body of Krishna, but it's like annihilating the soul almost completely. So anyway, Sayuja is never accepted by the devotees.
But I just want to understand, merging in Krishna's body and merging into Brahman are two different things, right?
Yeah, but it's part of the same broad category.
Because Krishna's body isn't that Bhagavan aspect, whereas the Brahman is the Brahman aspect.
Of course.
So the impersonalists, they are not thinking of merging in Krishna's body, they're just thinking of merging into Brahman.
They're not thinking of merging into anything. They just want to kill Krishna, but they get killed by Krishna, and so they reach some sort of neutral state of liberation.
Wow. That was new. They want to kill Krishna. Yeah, actually, that's true. They kind of want, no, because I had one teacher who was very impersonalist, and he would often say that, oh, yeah, Krishna and Rama, everything, they are just like us, and we'll all merge into existence. They are all there, something like that. She says, I used to think both of them are same. Tasya tyakta svabhavasya vrinirmayavanaukaşah bhajantam bhajamanasya balasve vastiratmana machula bhinna grivasya bhurina rudhirena vai ashrupriyam tapal tarpayishe Bratarami gata vyathaha. Sorry. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward the demons and demigods. Although he is the Supreme Person, now influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a bird to please his devotees, the demigods, such, just as a restless child leans towards someone. I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, and with the profuse blood from his body, I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who is fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful. Purport. The defect of the demoniac mentality is expressed in this very verse clearly. Hiranyakashipu thought that Vishnu also becomes partial, like a child whose mind is not steady or resolute. The Lord can change his mind at any time. Hiranyakashipu thought, and therefore his words and activities are like those of children. Actually, because the demons are ordinary human beings, their minds change, and being materially conditioned, they think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is conditioned also. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Avajananti mamudha manushim tanum ashritam. Fools deride me when I descend in a human form. Demons always think that Lord Vishnu can be killed. Therefore, being absorbed in thoughts of Vishnu's form to kill him, at least they have the opportunity to think of Vishnu unfavorably. Although they are not devotees, their thinking of Vishnu is effective. And thus, in general, they generally attain Sayujya Mukti, because the demons consider the Supreme Lord an ordinary living being. They think that they can kill Lord Vishnu as one might kill an ordinary person. Another fact disclosed herein is that demons are very much fond of sucking blood. Indeed, all of them are meat eaters and blood suckers. Hiranyakashipu accused the Supreme Lord of having a restless mind, like that of a small child, who can be induced to do anything if simply offered some cakes and laddus. Prabhupada is so funny. Indirectly, this indicates the true position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmana. If one offers me with devotion and love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. The Lord accepts the offering of devotees because of their transcendental love. Because they are in love with the Supreme Lord, they do not eat anything without offering it first to the Lord. The Lord does not hanker for small leaf or flower. He has enough to eat. Indeed, he is feeding all living entities. Nonetheless, because he is very merciful and is Bhakta Vatsala, very favorable to the devotees, he certainly eats whatever they offer him with love and devotion. This quality should not be misjudged to be childish. The highest quality of the Supreme Lord is that he is Bhakta Vatsala. In other words, he is always extremely pleased with his devotees. As for the word Maya, where used in reference to the dealings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, this word means affection. The actions of the Lord to favor his devotees are not disqualification, but signs of his natural affection. As for Rudira, or the blood of Lord Vishnu, since there is no possibility of severing Lord Vishnu's head from his body, there's no question of blood. That's true, you never heard of such a thing. But the garland that decorates Vishnu's body is as red as blood. When the demons achieve Sayujya Mukti and leave behind their sinful activities, they are blessed by Vishnu's garland, which is like red blood. After attaining Sayujya, red like blood, sorry. After attaining Sayujya Mukti, the demons are sometimes promoted to the Vaikuntha world, where they receive the reward of Lord's garland prasad.
So, okay, here we see that the deep illusion in which Hiranyakashipu and the demons in general live. He thinks they can kill Vishnu. So it's just a total tamaguna, it's total ignorance. Now, the fact that is in this type of asura bhava, mood of asura, of course, doesn't mean that he doesn't have some knowledge. Just like the Buddhists, no, the Tibetan Buddhists, although I mean they're not, they don't believe in God, they're atheists. Still, they know that there is reincarnation. So they say when the Dalai Lama dies, there's some sign where he reincarnates. So there's some concept we cannot set the soul as such, the Atma, but there's some concept of reincarnation. So the fact that somebody is an atheist or here Hiranyakasipu is a complete demon doesn't mean that they don't have some knowledge of mystic powers or basic spiritual knowledge about the soul, reincarnation, and karma.
This thing about the blood and the garland, I didn't get it.
Well, it's they want the blood, but they get the garland if they are blessed. They're blessed by the Vishnu's garland, and they Shri Prabhupada says sometimes they promoted to the Kunta where they receive the reward of the Lord's garland per shot. Otherwise, they aspire to this to see the blood of God, but obviously you can't see the blood of God. So then, I mean, not in that sense. So then you see the garland of God, which is a it's like consolation, right?
But there has to be the intensity, right?
Everybody's different.
Tasmin kute hite nashte katamule vanaspatau vitapa iva shushyanti vishnu prana divaukashaha. When the root of a tree is cut and the tree falls down, its branches and twigs automatically dry up. Similarly, when I have killed this diplomatic Vishnu, the demigods for whom Lord Vishnu is the life and soul will lose the source of their life and wither away. The difference between the demigods and demons is here explained. The demigods always follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the demons simply plan to disturb or kill him. Nevertheless, sometimes the demons very much appreciate the full dependence of the demigods upon the mercy of the Lord. This is indirect glorification of the demigods by the demons. How?
It's indirect. See, he's saying, if I kill Vishnu, all the demigods will die. But he's saying a way that it's an indirect glorification, meaning because they always depend on Vishnu.
It's always like that in the scriptures, right? When like Shishupala was insulting Krishna, all the things he was saying is all actually glorification indirectly. Because Krishna is like that. You can never criticize him. Anything you say.
See, the other point is that he said Vishnu left his impartiality like a child. A child you can kind of bribe, with sweets. The child doesn't have strong values, so ordinary children. So he's saying, see, you got bribed by the devatas, and became an inimical, but now I kill him and all the devatas will wither up.
I really love this concept where Srimad Bhagavatam always gives, Acharyas give us the indirect meaning behind what is actually said. Like when Shishupala says, oh, Krishna, instead of calling him Tribangi, he says, oh, he can't even stand straight. But he's actually glorifying Krishna that he's Tribangi. He stands in the three-building form.
He says Vishnu Pranhana, whose life is Lord Vishnu.
Yeah,
so he's saying in a dismissing way that they're vulnerable because I'll kill Vishnu, they'll die. But actually, it's just a form of glorification.
So true. Did I read this now? Tavad yata bhuvam yuyam brahma ksatra samedhitam shudayadvam tapo yagya swadhyaya vratadanina. When I am engaged in the business of killing Lord Vishnu, go down to the planet Earth, which is flourishing due to Brahminical culture and a Kshatriya government. These people engage in austerity, sacrifice, Vedic study, regulative vows, and charity. Destroy all the people thus engaged. But what do the demons want? You destroy the people, all they're engaged with that, and then what do they want for the world? Because
you have to dominate what's left.
So they don't want flourishing, they don't want prosperous people. They don't want, I thought that some of these demons were good kings.
Yeah, kings of their own people, not kings of others.
But how can they flourish they also flourish, right? They also have wealth and everything.
Yeah, if they follow their guru, if they follow their, like Shukracharya, and they wait for the right time, and yes.
Because they also, like Ravana worship Shiva.
Yeah.
So they also worship somebody. So what they mean here is, he means that if you destroy what is flourishing because of Brahminical culture, oof, that's what is demoniac. Purport. Hiranyakashipu's main purpose was to disturb the demigods. He planned to first kill Lord Vishnu, so that with Lord Vishnu's death, the demigods would automatically weaken and die. Another of his plans was to disturb the residents of the planet Earth. The peace and prosperity of the residents of Earth and all the other planets were maintained by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. On all the planets, there are different types of residents, but the Lord recommends, referring especially to the planet Earth, which is inhabited by human beings, that society be divided into four varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Before the advent of Lord Krishna on this earth, it is understood that earth was managed by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The duty of the Brahmanas is to cultivate sama, peacefulness, dama, self-control, titiksha, tolerance, satyam, truthfulness, shaucham, cleanliness, and arjavam, simplicity, and then to advise the Kshatriya kings how to rule the country or planet. Following the instructions of the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas should engage the populace in austerity, sacrifices, Vedic study, and adherence to the rules and regulations established by Vedic principles. They should also arrange for charity to be given to the Brahmanas, sannyasis, and temples. This is godly arrangement of Brahminical culture. I have some questions about Varnashram. And people are inclined to offer yagya because unless sacrifices are offered, there will be insufficient rain. Yagyat bhavati parjanyaha, which will hamper agricultural activities. Parjanyat anna sambhava. By introducing Brahminical culture, therefore, a Kshatriya government should engage people in performing yagya, studying the Vedas and giving charity. Thus, the people will receive the necessities for life very easily, and there will be no disturbances in the society. In regard to this, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3:12, Ishtan bhogan hiyo deva dashyante yagya bhavitaha tair dattan apradaya dayaibhyo yo bhunte stena evasa. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yagya, sacrifice, supply all necessities to man. But he who enjoys these gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. The demigods are authorized The demigods are authorized supplying agents who act on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yagyas. In the Vedas, there are different kinds of yagyas prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who cannot understand what the Personality of Godhead is, sacrifice of the demigods is recommended. According to the different material qualities of the persons concerned, different types of yagyas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, the ghastly form of material nature, and before the goddess, the sacrifice of animals is recommended. But for those in the mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. Ultimately, all yagyas are meant for gradual promotion of transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yagyas, known as Panchamahayagya, are necessary. One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that human society requires are supplied by demigod agent of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Consider, for example, all the eatables of the human society. These eatables include grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, and sugar for persons in the mode of goodness, and also eatables for the non-vegetarians, such as meats, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, take for example, heat, light, water, and air, which are also necessities of life. None of them can be manufactured by human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, or breeze, without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord. Even for our manufacturing enterprises, we require so many raw materials like metal, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and so many essentials, all of which are supplied by the agents of the Lord with the purpose that we should make proper use of them by keeping ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self-realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggles for existence. This aim of life is attained by performance of yajna. If we forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratification and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation, certainly we become more and more entangled in we become thieves, and therefore we are punished by the laws of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy, for they have no aim in life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yajnas. Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtan yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principles of Krishna consciousness. Hiranyakasipu planned to kill the inhabitants of earth so that yajna would stop and the demigods being disturbed would die automatically when Lord Vishnu, the Yajneshwara, was killed. These were the demoniac plans of Hiranyakasipu, who was expert in such activities. But if sun god is killed, moon god is killed, Vayu is killed, then how he will breathe and survive?
They think they can substitute them. They think they can kill Vishnu. They think they can manage without doing this.
But they can't, right?
Or they can make the Devata subservient to them. Which
actually, it is told that Hiranyakashipu used to tie, literally like the demigod, the planetary deities were tied to his chair, like means Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. Nobody could do anything to him. Please. I'll do this. It should be me. Vishnur Kriyamulo Yagyo Dharma Maya Puman Devarshri Pitru Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam. The basic principle of Brahmanical culture is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, the personification of sacrificial and ritualistic ceremonies. Lord Vishnu is the personified reservoir of all religious principles, and he is the shelter of all demigods, the great Pitas, and the people in general. When the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yajnas, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by yajna, will automatically die. Since Vishnu is the central point of Brahmanical culture, Hiranyakashipu's plan was to kill Vishnu. For if Vishnu were killed, naturally the Brahmanical culture would be lost. With Brahmanical culture lost, yajna would no longer be performed. And for want of yajna, the regular distribution of rainfall would cease. Yajna bhavati parjanya, and there would be disturbances all over the world. And naturally, the demigods would be defeated. Why they'll be defeated?
He is thinking that they depend on the offerings and things. He has all this crazy worldview.
From this great verse, we
but
get
definitely the devatas, they get less yajnas, so no.
So the yajnas give strength to the devatas.
Apparently,
but who is doing yajnas now?
Yeah.
So,
but for the devatas, don't come to the planets. What they come to do.
But they are enjoying. Devatas have their own enjoyments.
Of course they are.
But for their enjoyments, they don't depend on us or something.
That's my understanding.
Because I always
there are
wonder.
different types of devatas, like the pitas. The pitas all depends on the yajnas. Pitris. Yeah.
By the way, right now is the Pitri days going on for another 12 days. It's called Pitri Paksha. So it's like a very fixed time for ancestors for. So I guess that you perform, the Pitris get it. And what do the Pitris do? They protect your generation.
They stay up in Pitriloka. If they don't get
Offerings.
offering, they become Yamadutas.
That's why they should do Shraddha of people.
Yeah. They keep Pitris in Pitriloka.
Pitriloka is like heavenly planets.
Yeah, it's a higher planet.
So if devotees don't do yagya for their parents, non-devotee parents, if they don't do Shraddha, they'll become Yamadutas.
Devotees.
If devotees don't do Shraddha for their non-devotee parents, what will happen?
Krishna takes care of the planets of the devotees.
So should devotees do Shraddha or not? If a devotee dies, should we do Shraddha continuously?
I never heard this instruction, so I will not repeat it. I never heard this instruction because if we serve Krishna, depending on what level of devotees, not all devotees are so dedicated 100% and 100% 24 hours a day. So some people, obviously, if they completely dedicate to Vishnu, then everything is taken care.
Meaning,
but
if
to
you
the degree one is not dedicated, then of course he has other duties. But otherwise, I never heard Srila Prabhupada say that all the devotees should do all the shraddhas every year. I never heard that.
Prabhupada never did Shraddha for his parents.
I've done as a grihastha. When they are sannyasi, you finish with these things.
So when a person becomes a devotee, then the Sankirtan Yagya itself can be kind of Shraddha also.
Well, I never heard it like this, but obviously it is taken care. If somebody is completely absorbed in the Sankirtan Yagya, all the other yagyas are taken care of.
Because it's actually a good question, and many devotees have this question: should we perform Shraddha or not for the parents and relatives, and who is going to do for us if we don't have children? Krishna actually says, right, I will come and do your Shraddha to one devotee. There's a pastime. Any of you have any opinion about that? Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji joined. She's quite expert on these topics. Mataji, any opinion about Shraddha ceremonies? Anything you have heard?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, actually, we should perform that Shad ceremonies because, see, we got this body through our ancestors. So we have some debt, so we have to repay. So it's sometimes like, the Shad is maybe some, our ancestor, maybe they are in some different planets or different ways. So we have some obligations through which they will get this, that Payat karma. So they will get rid of some of their karmic reaction, or they will go to the higher planets, and they will maybe in future life they will come and get this Krishna bhakti and go back to Godhead.
True. Anything else about this? No.
As I said at the beginning, I never heard Srila Prabhupada saying that devotees need to do the Shraddha ceremony. So I cannot repeat something I never heard.
Maybe it's part of the cultural thing. Sometimes we have certain cultures in Indian culture, and it's like, okay, we continue doing it. My father does it every year. Right now is a Pitru Paksha, I told you. Yatra yatra dvijogavo veda varna shrama kriya tam janapadam yata sandipayat vrishchata. Immediately go wherever there is good protection for the cows and brahmanas, and wherever the Vedas are studied in terms of the Varnashram principles. Set fire to those places and cut from the roots the trees there, which are source of life. My God, really demoniac. Purport. The picture of proper human civilization is indirectly described here. In a perfect human civilization, there must be a class of men fully trained as perfect brahmanas. Similarly, there must be Kshatriyas to rule the country very nicely according to the injunctions of the Shastra. And there must be Vaishyas who can protect the cows. The word Gavaha indicates that cows should be given protection. Because the Vedic civilization is lost, cows are not protected, but instead indiscriminately killed in slaughterhouses. Such are the acts of demons. Therefore, this is a demoniac civilization. The Varnashrama Dharma mentioned here in essential for human civilization. Unless there's a Brahmana to guide, a Kshatriya to rule perfectly, and a perfect Vaishya to produce food and protect the cows, how will people live peacefully? It is impossible. Another point is that trees also should be given protection. During its lifetime, a tree should not be cut for industrial enterprises. In Kali Yuga, trees are indiscriminately and unnecessarily cut for industry, in particular for paper mills that manufacture a profuse quantity of paper for the publication of demoniac propaganda, nonsensical literature, huge quantities of newspaper, and many other paper products. This is a sign of demoniac civilization. The cutting of trees is prohibited unless necessary for the service of the Lord Vishnu. Yagyartat karmano nyatro lokayam karma bandhana. Work done as sacrifice for Lord Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Can you explain the meaning of that sentence? This one?
Which one?
Otherwise, it binds one to the material world. What is this whole sentence? Work done as sacrifice for Lord Vishnu must be performed.
This is basic Bhagavad Gita 3.9. This is if one acts in this world, if he's not offering as a yagya, if he doesn't offer the fruits of the world, then is obviously there's binding. If it's pious activity, is binding to punya, and if it's sinful activity, binds it to papa. It's a simple concept.
And punya and papa brings us back to this material world.
Of course.
But if the paper mills stop producing paper, one may argue, how can our ISKCON literature be published? The answer is that paper mills should manufacture paper only for the publication of ISKCON literature, because ISKCON literature is published for the service of Lord Vishnu. This literature clarifies our relationship with Lord Vishnu, and therefore the publication of ISKCON literature is a performance of yagya. Yagyararthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Yagya must be performed as indicated by the superior authorities. The cutting of trees simply to manufacture paper for publication of unwanted literature is the greatest sinful act. Wow, Prabhupada is really bold here. He says that manufacturing of paper should be done only for publication of ISKCON literature.
I mean, this was actually originally when they invented the press. The first book was the Bible, and just like when there was a cinematography industry in India, 70% of all the movies were devotional, either Krishna or the Devatas. So this is human life. Like when even in the West, when they build gorgeous buildings, there were churches and things like that. So this is the idea that you offer in yagya the best to God, the best building, the best books, the best art, the best sculpture, the best paintings. That's a human culture. But because now human culture is basically devastated, they do all sorts of things which have nothing to do with religion.
But there's so much opposite of this happening. There's so much nonsensical literature is being published.
Of course.
So we should not buy any of the books which is not Krishna conscious.
Unless there are some books that specifically
Helps us.
you need, like for instance, I needed to get my driving license. I had to buy a book to study the traffic rules. I mean, that's obviously something that you use for Krishna. Otherwise, it's a waste of. Otherwise you get that karmano yatra. That tree has given his life for this, and if you pay the people who give you the book, meaning you're participating in killing the tree, obviously. Like killing a cow, but it's the same principle. See here, for instance, there is a discussion between in Mumbai. Krishna Prabhupada mentioned the Shraddha ceremony many times. Here there's a morning walk, and the discussion comes with Dr. Patel, who is always kind of challenging. We are all ordained to perform Shraddha, all Vaishnavas, Prabhupada. Yes, no, Vaishnava do not do so. But Dr. Patel, all of us, are we not doing? Prabhupada, no. Dr. Patel, Shraddha ceremony, Prabhupada, the Vaishnava has no duty except serving Krishna. That's all. Dr. Patel, that's right. But the Vaishnava family, Prabhupada, no. Chandubhai, somebody else. Grihastha, Dr. Patel, Grihastha. Prabhupada, whatever he may be, that is stated that they stated Pitrinam.
And then they're changing.
Just like we are indebted, there are those debts, but if somebody is fully engaged, so one was taking shelter, fully shelter, and Krishna doesn't require to do any so-called social, political duties, doesn't require. So now it's up to individual if you think you're fully engaged in Krishna service or not, or you're still in the level of karma kanda or something.
But I think the principle of being grateful to the ancestors is important. Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji mentioned that.
See, here Srila Prabhupada says in another lecture, if you want to go to the plane of ancestor by performing Shraddha ceremony, pious activity, karma kandi activity. And if you want to remain there, this is my country, is my India, is England now, nationalist is involved. So it's karma kanda, it's now bhakti, but everybody needs to just, it certainly is not like a principle that Srila Prabhupada established for devotees to do.
Especially, I think, foreign devotees and all, they didn't much speak about
I don't think it's a
demigods.
question of foreign or no foreign. It's just a question.
I'm just saying, if it's just part of your family culture, it's not a big deal to do, you do it. It's not like, I think there's no need to do extra endeavor. You don't need to learn to do it. Okay, Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji is also saying that we are not asking anything from them, means ancestors. We just want them to remain happy. I think that's the very strong difference between doing performance of yajnas. A lot of people, performance of the Shraddha, they want to do it to please the ancestors, so the ancestors will bless them and they want something from them.
Anyway, I'm just repeating what Srila Prabhupada says. The devotees can choose what they want to do.
I think it's a very personal thing. Iti te bhatra nirdesham adaya shirasadrita tata prajanam kadanam vidadhau kadana priya. Thus the demons, being fond of disastrous activities, took Hiranyakashipu's instructions on their heads with great respect and offered him obeisances. According to his directions, they engaged in envious activities directed against all living beings. Purport: the followers of demoniac principles, as described here, are thoroughly envious of the general populace. In the present day, scientific advancement exemplifies such envy. The discovery of nuclear energy has been disastrous to people in general, because demons all over the world are manufacturing nuclear weapons. The word Kadana Priya is very significant in this regard. The demoniac persons who want to kill the Vedic culture are extremely envious of the feeble citizens, and they act in such a way that ultimately their discoveries will be inauspicious for everyone. Jagato Hita, the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, fully explains how the demons engage in sinful activities for the destruction of the populace.
By the way, another quote on the Shraddha Srila Prabhupada say one should not make very elaborate arrangement to perform the Shraddha ceremony offering oblations to one's forefathers. The best process for the Shraddha ceremony is to distribute Bhagavad Prasad, remnants of food that has been first offered to Krishna, to all of one's forefathers and relatives. This makes a first-class Shraddha ceremony. Also, because some people do Shraddha with meat and eggs and things, so Srila Prabhupada say, if you do the Shraddha, do it with Prasada. Okay.
Puragrama Vrajodhyana Kshetraram Pramakaran Kheta Karvata Koshamscha Dadho Patta Nani Patta Nanicha. The demons set fire to the cities, villages, pasturing grounds, cow pens, gardens, agricultural fields, and natural forests. They burned the hermitages of the saintly persons, the important mines that produce valuable metals, the residential quarters of the agriculturalists, the mountain villages, the villages of the cow protectors, the cowherd men. They also burned the government capitals. Total Taliban. Purport. The word Udyana refers to places where trees are especially
Yeah, but
grown.
we cannot compare the Taliban with this thing. See, Taliban has got their own values, their own scriptures, their own standards. They are the Taliban, they have their own saintly people and they respect their own saintly people. They respect their own scriptures. Here is very different, obviously. They are very, very very disruptive and destructive.
Yeah,
Taliban don't do that. I mean,
I didn't know. I
Taliban.
thought Taliban did exactly those things.
Well, if you attack them, if you invade their countries, of course they defend themselves. But they are not killing the saintly people in their own culture, or they're not destroying things.
I didn't know. Okay.
It's the Americans who came to Afghanistan and then started destroying things.
Who are these people who go and do suicide bombing and all? Who are they? They're not Talibans?
Not necessarily. Taliban simply, see, in Arabic, Talibans means students. So they say, we are studying the Quran, we want to apply the laws of the Quran. Now, there are many, many types of Muslims. And some particular radical Muslim, they may do suicide bombing, but it's not like that the philosophy of the Taliban to do suicide bombing.
Like a suicide mission. This is like a suicide mission. Purport. The word Udyana refers to places where trees are grown, especially to produce fruits and flowers, which are most important for human civilization. This we read already or no? No, this again proper quotes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Fruits and flowers are very much pleasing to the Lord. If one wants to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can simply offer fruits and flowers, and the Lord will be pleased to accept them. I'm just thinking how Krishna, Radha Madhava accepts the flower garlands. Our only duty is to please the Supreme Godhead. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Whatever we do and whatever our occupation, our main purpose should be to please the Supreme Lord. All the paraphernalia mentioned in this verse is especially meant for the satisfaction of the Lord, not the satisfaction of one's senses. The government, indeed, the entire society should be structured in such a way that everyone can be trained to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But unfortunately, especially in this age of Kali, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. People do not know that the highest goal of human life is to please Lord Vishnu. On the contrary, like demons, they simply plan to kill Vishnu and be happy by sense gratification. Actually, this part here, the Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Swartha here is actually a good meaning. Swartha means of your own benefit. We usually say selfish is a bad thing, but in Sanskrit, the word swartha, we can be swartha in the mode of goodness. And the mode of goodness of knowing selfishness means we do the best for our existence and not do suicide missions like this demon jail. Bibhidu. Kechit kanitrairbhibudu setu prakara gopuran ajim vyas chichidur vrikshan kechit parashuk panayaha pradahan sharananyeka prajanam jwalito mukhaihi. Some of the demons took digging instruments and broke down the bridges, the protective walls and the gates, gopuras of the cities. Some took axes and began cutting the important trees that produce mango, jackfruit, and other sources of food. Some of the demons took firebrands and set fire to the residential quarters of the citizens. Purport: the cutting of trees is generally prohibited. In particular, trees that produce nice fruit for the maintenance of human society should not be cut. In different countries, there are different types of fruit trees. In India, the mango and jackfruit trees are prominent. And in other places, there are mango trees, jackfruit trees, coconut trees, and berry trees. Any tree that produces nice fruit for the maintenance of the people should not be cut at all. This is Shastric injunction. Evam viprakrite loke daityendranachar characharai muhu, sorry, correct me. Divam deva parityaja bhuvi cherur alakshitaha. Thus disturbed again and again by the unnatural occurrences caused by the followers of Hiranyakasipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. Not receiving the results of the yagya, the demigods also became disturbed. They left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and, unobserved by the demons, began wandering on planet Earth to see the disasters. Why they would come to Earth and watch these disasters?
They have a relation, right? I mean, they have a relation with the human beings in an elevated society. There is a relation between the devatas and the human beings. So when something, it's like a protectorate, when a big country has a small country, and if there's some problem, they go and see what's happening. So obviously the devatas, they see the collapse of civilization, the collapse of the connection, collapse of Vedic culture, so they go and see. It's like even nowadays, when there is a war, a civil war somewhere in Africa or in Bosnia, and the UN goes there, sends people to make peace or to look at what's happening, to see what kind of help they can give or something like that. It's a natural thing. A superior goes and look into an inferior situation.
But they are helpless, right? They can't do anything because he's already strong. And
well, let's see. Let's see what's
but this is all before Hiranyakasipu starts his tapasya, right?
Yeah. So he was already very, very, very powerful.
Amazing.
Already a leader.
Yeah. Did I read the report?
Oh.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the performance of yajna brings reciprocal good fortune for both the human beings and the demigods. When the performances of yajna were stopped by the disturbances of the demigods were naturally bereft of the results of yajna and hampered in executing their respective duties. Therefore, they came down to the planet Earth to see how people had become disturbed and consider what to do. Yeah. I think the analogy you gave is a good one. In countries where some earthquake happens or something, the countries from powerful countries which has money, they come and look and they try to help.
Yeah, but there is also the fact that the yagya do benefit the devatas, because it's like there is a cosmic arrangement that what's offered in the yagya goes to the devata through the fire. The fire is like a subtle channel, so they get some sort of nourishments, they get some sort of, you could say,
Shakti.
blessings or some sort of opulence through the yagya. It's not just what they offer, the ghee. They don't need that 1 kilo of ghee, but the ghee gets through the Vedic yagya, gets kind of translated into something higher for them. So definitely they're also affected.
That is so powerful. But Krishna doesn't need that, right? Actually, there's this theory about the Mayavadi people. They say when people worship some demigod or even Krishna, Krishna gets the strength from that.
That's a demoniac, because Krishna is beyond it. Krishna is Atmarama. You see, any strength is Krishna's strength. Any strength, the strength of Hiranyakasipu, the strength of the demons, the strength of the yagya, the strength of time, it's all his strength. So he doesn't need any external strength. This is all his energy. The cosmos, the yugas, the yagyas, it's all his energy. So he doesn't need that. It's already the manifestation, Ham Sarvasya Prabhavo. So he just, if somebody offers him back, that's good for the person. He doesn't care.
Purnahuti only goes to Krishna at the end of the yagya. When it's done to please Krishna is different, right? Can I continue?
Yeah,
Hiranyakashipu Bratu Samparetasya Dukhita Kritva Katoda Kadini Bhratur Putran Ashantvayat. After performing the ritualistic observances for the death of his brother, Hiranyakashipu, being extremely unhappy, tried to pacify his nephews.
So here also the ritualistic activity, they also have a culture. Every country of the world, even the most atheistic, they have some sort of funeral, there's some kind of closure, either because they bring closure to the body, some place they bury the body and they do the whole thing, and there are military funerals, they shoot, boom, boom, like that. They do all sorts of rituals. Every culture has got some ritual, but doesn't need to be necessarily religious. Sometimes it's just whatever ritual. So I don't know. So it's not a ritual, doesn't necessarily mean religious or devotion. Anybody's got rituals, even the big demons, the big atheists, some form of ritual funeral, some incantation, some singing, some hymns, or some prayers, some sort of bringing the closure, either burning the body or burying it. This Farsi, the Parsis, they put it on the tower so that the birds can eat it. Different people deal with the funerary rites in different ways.
Mataji is saying that in Ramayana, Rama did Shraddha for the father. I think this is setting the example. Should we do this one more verse?
Okay.
Shakunim sambaram drishtim bhuta shantapanam vrikam kalanabham mahanabham harismarum atok kacham tanmatram rushubhanunam titim cha jananim gira slakshnaya desha kalagnya idam aha janeshwara. O king, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, but since he was a great politician, he knew how to act according to the time and situation. With sweet words, he began pacifying his nephews, whose names were Shakuni, Shambara, Drishti, Bhuta Shantapana, Vrika, Kalanabha, Mahanabha, Hari Smarashru and Utkachar. He also consoled their mother, his sister-in-law Rushabanu, as well as his own mother Diti. He spoke to them as follows. We can pause here for today and continue tomorrow. If any of you have any comments or questions, you can. I was thinking one is Shraddha ceremony, but then, like when we come from Indian family backgrounds, there's so many festivals. My mom and my grandmother, they often ask me, oh, so you're doing Ganesh Chaturdashi, oh, you're doing Durga Puja, you're doing Lakshmi Puja. There's always some other festivals, right? I'm like, no, we don't do anything. For me, every day is a festival. Every day I'm making something for Radha Madhava. Every day I'm cooking for deities, festival food only. It is not like, of course, we celebrate Radhashmi, Janmashtami, our pujas, but when we become Gaudiya Vaishnavas, then, it gets one level up, because when it is on the level of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, any other Hindu background we have, it's all a little bit like Karma Kandiya. You do it because you want prosperity. You do it because you want children or something like that. But the Gaudiya Vaishnava festivals are like, we just do it because we love Krishna. Right? So, yeah, we're done. I'm making a point. Can you acknowledge it? Okay. Right. Namaste.
To say that Nirantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for the ki jai.
Very good. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
that's a good one. Krishna, all the goes to Govardhan Puja. That's a good one. Haha, that's a good one. Thank you, Snehavati Gandharvika. Thank you, Rajeshwari.